Dear Vice-Chancellor, rectors, and all friends of Europaeum, I thank you very much for inviting me to your 30th anniversary. When Europaeum was founded in 1992, the wind of change were blowing over the European continent. The Berlin Wall had fallen, the Cold War had ended, and new democracies were knocking on Europe's door. I clearly remember the jubilation and the sense of possibility and purpose. In this spirit, Europaeum defined itself as a university without walls. And this spirit of hope, openness and cooperation is as important today as it was back then. For me, this is the motto of the Europe I stand for and work for every single day. And this is what I would like to speak about with you today. And let me give you 4 examples. The first one is the pandemic. You all know the story. When the COVID-19 virus made landfall in Europe, some chose to close their borders. There was competition for protective equipment and medical supplies even between EU member states. Vaccine nationalism became the norm around the world. It was a dark and difficult time. We Europeans also had our tough and painful public discussions. But then the European Union decided to take a different path, the path of solidarity and openness. And of course, we provided for our own citizens, but at the same time, we exported over 2.4 billion doses of vaccines against COVID-19 to a total of 168 countries, of which 480 million doses were donated to the least developed countries. Our EU digital COVID certificate has protected the fundamental right to free movement. It became a global standard. 48 non-EU countries and territories across 5 continents have joined the system on top of our 27 EU member states. The pandemic was a moment when push came to shove, and Europeans acted in the spirit of hope, openness, and cooperation. The same can be said for the climate crisis, and this is my second point. You have all heard about the European Green Deal. We want to make Europe the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. We have put this ambition into binding law. As a highly innovative and industrialized region, Europe can show that it can be done. Create a circular economy that intrinsically values nature and human health. That there is no trade-off between economic growth and cutting carbon emissions. And that our societies can flourish without putting future generations at risk. Europe is leading the way because we want to inspire others to follow. That's easy to say and hard to do. You have to walk the talk at home. That means hard work of persuasion within our union. It takes willingness to help those who have little to invest in the green transition. And it requires the readiness to share innovations because climate change will not wait. And that's why the European Union and our member states are the biggest contributor of public climate finance to developing countries. We built a green alliance with Japan to foster our close cooperation with the global north, or Just Energy Transition Partnership with South Africa. It is helping it exit from coal. This will serve as a model for climate and technology cooperation with other partners, including Vietnam, for example. Take Global Gateway, our 300 billion euro value-driven global infrastructure package that can help fund interconnectors between the African continent and Europe. Because we want the nations of the global south also to become multipliers of green technologies like green hydrogen. Europe is determined to keep up the momentum. We're building a more sustainable future for our union and the planet. And we firmly believe that we are most convincing and successful in the fight against climate change when we do it in a spirit of openness and cooperation. And this is the message I will bring to COP15 in Montreal and COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. My third topic is the digital transformation. Here too, we are at a crossroad. Europe has a lot of homework to do to keep up with the enormous pace of development. For example, we are investing massively in the development and mass production of the next generation of semiconductors on our continent. Digitalization brings a myriad of fantastic new opportunities. It is up to us how we use them best. Autocratic regimes like Russia and China are building ever taller digital walls to seal off their people from the free exchange of ideas. Or consider the major online platforms. Billions of users love them and experience them as an improvement in their lives, but they also concentrate huge power. They can set tough conditions for other businesses to access their services, thus blocking competition and innovation. And platforms can profile users to collect very sensitive personal data. The European Union is pioneering a third way. That is human-centered digitalization. We passed 2 pieces of groundbreaking legislation this year. The Digital Markets Act will regulate the activities of large digital platforms or gatekeepers. They have to promote fair competition online. And the Digital Services Act follows the principle that what is illegal offline must also be illegal online. To prevent misuse that destabilizes our democratic processes and to protect private data. The internet is a powerful tool to connect people. It belongs to our open societies. But it has to reflect our values. And that's why our European Union is reaching out to partners across the globe to ensure that fair competition and a human-centered digitalization become the global norm. My fourth and last point concerns Ukraine. Russia has invaded Ukraine with the goal to wipe the country from the map. Ukrainians are fighting for their survival. Russia is trying to re-establish zones of influence. This war is about our most cherished values. The right to be a free and democratic nation, to decide on your own future. And autocracies around the world are watching very closely what happens. Will democracies have the resolve to stand up for their values and the rules-based order? Or will they allow the right of might to go unchecked? From day one on, the European Union and many like-minded friends have stood at Ukraine's side, with weapons, with funds. We opened our homes to more than 8 million refugees. We are getting rid of Russian fossil fuels to drain the Kremlin's war chest. And we impose the toughest sanctions on Russia the world has ever seen. This cannot be done without hardship for ourselves. Europe is facing a tough winter, and the public debates are also getting rougher. But the European Union will stay at the side of our Ukrainian friends as long as it takes. And we're doing this together with our close partners, including the United Kingdom. because we all clearly feel it is this historical moment. This is a brutal war of aggression waged by a dictator. But this is also a struggle of open societies against the model of authoritarian states, against regimes that do not believe in democratic progress and fair competition, regimes who rely on sheer power instead of the legitimate consent at the ballot, on suppression instead of deliberation, on new walls and trenches instead of peaceful coexistence and open cooperation between people and countries. We Europeans have realized that there is a price tag to our values, and we are working hard to strengthen the resilience of our union. But the course is clear. I want our union to stand at the side of every country that longs for freedom and open democratic societies in Europe and beyond. My dear friends of Europeum, I believe that we are experiencing a decisive moment, a moment of truth and challenge, a moment that will determine the fate of generations to come. And I believe that in this crucial moment, our European Union is finding the courage to do what is right. Moments like this bring Europe's inner strength back to the surface. We will continue to act in the spirit of hope, openness, and cooperation. And I'm confident that Europe and the democratic values that we share with so many corners of the world will prevail. I thank you for your attention.